Today I'm going to plant a gooseberry bush right next to my raised bed garden a few feet out. So I'm going to dig like crazy and pull out some of this, and then I'll come back when I'm ready to amend the soil. Here I am all dug out. I dug it about twice as deep as the pot, about twice as big around, and then I added some pine needles which break down very, very slowly, and I added some of my chicken waste in there that's actually fresh, which means it's going to be hot, which means it should cook, which is what I want it to do, is cook down a little bit, and then I'm going to add the plant a little bit later when it's cooked a bit. So now I'm going to finish this off with a few soil amendments. I'll go through my ironite. I'm going to add some sulfur and some bone meal, and where's my other, some organic fertilizer from Dr. Earth, which you can't really see there, and that has microbes in it which will help break everything down, break it down and dissolve it in. So I'm going to get that in and stir it up and water it up, and then I'll come back. Alright, I've got my ingredients in. I've stirred it up and wet it, and stirred it and wet it to get it all nice and wet so it cooks fast. I used a simple system on all those ingredients. I put 1/3 of a cup in, 1/3 of a cup around the rim, so that'll, around the rim will soak in gently and everything inside will be ready for immediate use. This is obviously going to be pretty hot. I might have to add some more pine needles. I'm going to add a little dirt and stir it in and let this cook, and hopefully it gets really, really hot, cooks up fast so that I can get my bush in. Alright, the hole that I'm going to put my berry bush in has been sitting for a few days, and it's ready to be stirred up and probably just about ready to be planted. So I'm going to stir up that sod and get all that stuff stirred in as good as I can, and then I'm going to put my tree in. So I opened up the little hole here and dug it around a bit, and it was just so incredibly stinky I decided I'd let it sit for a few more days. So it's got water in it, so I had to wash off my shovel to get the sludge off of it. So I'll let that sit for a couple more days as it rains, and I'm going to leave it uncovered so that the rain can wash through a little bit, and then I'll plant in it. This is sat out and been rained on for a few days, so now I'm going to drop in my bush, and I've got plans to cover it all up, but I'm not going to cover it up right away. I'm going to leave it for 2 days to make sure that it doesn't start to burn or have any problems, because I may want to pull it right back out if it is going to have problems. So I'm going to drop it in. Now that looks good. Normally at this point you would water it in, but it's starting to rain and there's days of rain expected, so I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to leave it uncovered. Once it's sat for 2 or 3 days and I feel like it's settled in a bit, I'm going to top dress it with the dirt, and then I'm going to put cardboard all around it, and I'll take a shot of this as well. Then I'm going to cover the cardboard with pine needles to create an acid soil here for this bush, because it prefers a slightly acidic soil. So there it is, one gooseberry in the ground. This has been out in the ground for a few days, and it's looking really nice. I'm real satisfied with how it's going, so I'm going to cover the ground with cardboard, and then I'm going to dress it up with some stones and throw down a layer of pine needles about 1 inch to 2 inches thick. And then that's pretty much it, other than watering it. Got to keep it watered. Probably got to water it at least once a week this year, so deep water. So I'll come back when I'm all wrapped up. I've got these pine needles that are going around my berry bush, but I want a kind of clean look. I don't want all this debris in there, so I'm just sifting it out using the lid of my backyard fireplace. Kind of clean out all the crap to go onto the cardboard around the bush. I thought I'd do a shot of this before I put on the last bucket full. You can see there's the cardboard, stones. I've wrapped it and finished the path from my garden. So I'll put that down, get it about 1 inch to 2 inches thick. It's going to vary, but I want it to all be covered with at least 1 inch. Then I'm going to water it down really good, probably water it lightly, 2 to 3 times a day for the first couple of days to really wet those pine needles down. Pine needles don't wet down very well. You can wet them till the top looks soaked, and then you dig in 1 inch and they're all completely dry. So you need to water it and come back and water it again after it's had time to distribute the water that you put on in the first place, because it all just runs to the bottom. So I'll finish this up and then I'm done. So there it is, all finished up. I wanted to come back and make a note about the bush. Depending on how it looks, if and when it flowers, I may or probably will remove all of the flowers so that it puts all its energy into growth the first year. And this mulch I will probably check and add to make sure that it's a good inch up every fall or spring, maybe both. And also, because I live in an area with alkaline soil, each year I need to add a little bit of sulfur. Hopefully I won't have to add too much. That's the point of this mulch, is that this will make an acid environment for this, and I hopefully won't have to add hardly any or possibly any sulfur at all to this. Now I'm going to water this twice a day with a hand wand for about a week, maybe 2 weeks, to make sure that it all gets in and keeps that wet, keeps it growing, keeps it alive, and hopefully I'll have some good berries next year.